Hello, and welcome to that Tech Pod special Halloween episode where we discuss all things e-discovery, cybersecurity, data privacy, tech innovations, and today, a little bit of Halloween. I'm Laura Milstein, dressed as a slice of bread.
And I'm Kevin Albert, dressed as Bob Ross.
And each week, we're talking to heavy hitters in the industry to help us break down these topics. Today, we're including the topic of Halloween. So to help us get a little spooky, we have Gianna Witwer. Gianna is the co-founder and CEO of the Cybersecurity Marketing Society and a co-host of the Breaking Through in Cybersecurity Marketing podcast.
Gianna is also an advisor for cybersecurity and technology companies. Gianna has worked in marketing as an early employee at multiple companies in a broad array of industries, including past roles at cybersecurity companies, at a commercial real estate development and investment firm, and big tech, to name a few. She also speaks publicly on marketing, cybersecurity, and entrepreneurial topics, having presented at RSA 365, ISC2, and InfoSec World.
Okay, so as we all know, it's Halloween. So I'm pretty excited. I'm bread. I'm a piece of bread.
Nice.
Just want everyone to know.
Are you a sandwich or just bread?
No, just a slice. You want a slice?
Yeah. What type of bread? Depends.
I shift. Sometimes I even become toast.
Wow.
Yeah. So I'm pretty excited about being bread this year. I'm hoping to find my other half.
Nice. I got my whole Bob Ross painting thing here going.
That's pretty good. You're a pretty good Bob Ross.
Thanks.
Yeah.
It's hard to find costumes that like incorporate the beard because I don't really want to like shave my beard, and so I was trying to come up with people who have beards, and obviously,
Did either of you see the movie, the Bob Ross movie that came out?
No, there's a Bob Ross movie.
Yeah, with Owen Wilson. I haven't seen it. I heard it was really bad, but like I kind of still want to see it.
No, I didn't even know it existed. That's funny.
I feel like that's a good reason.
Owen Wilson, Bob Ross.
Yeah. He's Bob Ross.
Oh no.
I know. So you weren't the first, Kevin. Gianna, what are you going to be for Halloween since you embarrassed us by putting us in these costumes and then not doing it?
Well, first I want to say also, Kevin, that I also love your Bob Ross costume because I didn't get a chance to chime in and say that. And if you wanted to be bread, if you left the beard on, you could have been moldy bread.
That's a good point. That's true. I like it.
Yeah.
We can train more.
I wouldn't be a good Bob Ross.
I haven't
paint.
I know Halloween is like tomorrow, but I haven't decided on my costume. I'm either going to be a cow and my husband's going to be cheese, or I'm going to be moth and he's going to be a lamp. And those are totally sincere.
That's
options.
So good. You are wearing the colors. You're wearing the Halloween colors.
Yeah, I'm wearing a black shirt with squirrels on it.
I have a friend, she's going to be a loofah. And I was like, that's pretty good.
I like that.
Yeah.
That's really
so
funny.
Let's get into it. Let's get scary. Let's scare everyone. So if you're listening right now and you're like, I'm just trying to enjoy my Halloween and these freaks out here. Yeah, it's Halloween. This is the time to be a freak. I also, before we actually get into it, I have a real statement for everyone. And I feel this very, very deep in my heart. I'm not a killer. Mostly just because like I'm pretty little, I would do a really bad job, I would easily get caught, and like I just have no desire to do that. Like just no. But if I was to kill, no, it's just true. But if I was to kill, I would kill on Halloween. Like if you're a murderer, Halloween is the prime day to murder someone. I mean, who did it? It was the ghost. It was the bread. Like it's like that's the day. So I actually think people should be a little scared of Halloween because it's the murder day, in my opinion.
One of my favorite things was when my wife and I lived in New York on Halloween. It was always kind of hard to tell who was dressed up and who was just in their regular gear. That was like all just sort of slutty and fancy. And so we basically spend the time playing, is that a costume or is that their just regular dress?
Slutty and fancy.
Yeah, it was fun.
I've been in Portland, Oregon for a bit, and I like to play a game that says, is it Halloween or is it Portland? Because there's a lot of costumes all the time here. So it's a little different. Also, fun fact, shout out to my parents. Their anniversary is Halloween. I'm not kidding.
Do they listen to this podcast?
I hope not.
My mom does. She sends me notes. She'll
That's
just
so
text me and be
nice.
like, you didn't enunciate at this point, and you slouch a lot, things like that, things that help me
Yeah.
improve.
Well, since this podcast is on both of our podcasts, my mom will probably listen to yours, but she probably won't listen to mine because, I mean, who wants to listen to that tech pod? If you're listening, why? Just kidding. Keep listening. But why? So we want to talk about some scary stories today. Let's get weird. Let's creep everyone out. So Gianna, I heard you have a scary story. What's up?
I do. So we're putting together scary cybersecurity stories. Yay. So my first story, which is highly likely to also be y'all's story, is about death caused by ransomware.
Ooh.
It's actually sad. It's like
Well,
it
those are
actually makes you
tears.
sad.
Those were
Yeah.
tears. So yeah.
Oh yeah, your tears make that sound.
Yeah.
That makes sense. All right, so this one, so there's two really famous death IT ransomware stories, and I'm gonna pick the one that is less, they're both really sad, but one that is less close to home here in the US because there was a death at an Alabama-based medical facility because of a ransomware attack. I'm gonna take us all on a trip to Germany, to Dusseldorf, I think. And we're going to talk about a ransomware attack on a hospital that caused a death because an ambulance had to be rerouted by an hour, and the person in that ambulance unfortunately died. So it's
Oh
really
my
sad.
God.
Yeah.
Break it down. So somebody called 911, an ambulance comes. Why did they call 911? Like what happened to them?
I don't know. They don't go into that detail in the news articles I read. I sourced this information from a couple of places. Healthcare IT News.
So a mystery call is made
Yes.
to 911. The
Yes.
ambulance comes. Somebody's clearly like needs help. They put him in the ambulance, and then the ambulance is like, psych, we're just going on a joyride to your death. That is horrible.
Exactly. It's pretty sad. So basically what happened was there was an attack on like a Duffel.
Wait, you don't speak German?
Sprechende Deutsch? No, I don't. I don't. A Dusseldorf-based hospital associated with the university there. And there was basically a ransomware attack on September 10th, 2020, which is an unfortunate time also because that was during the pandemic, everybody, like pretty hardcore in the pandemic. There was a lot of deaths happening, a lot of emergencies. And so this ransomware attack happened, and basically 30 servers were encrypted at this hospital. And there was a message addressed to the university attached to the hospital, right? Heinrich Heine University, to contact the attackers and discuss ransom. So instead, they called the police, and the police said that no, like, we're not going to pay the ransom. And also, hey, you hadn't hit the university, you hit the hospital, and now lives are in danger, right? Ugh. I like literally got chills saying that. But they didn't recant that attack. So basically it locked the IT systems, it locked everything down. It was because it was taken, how it got in was through a VPN software that was developed by Citrix. So it was like a flaw in a security tool. And that's how they gained access into the IT systems. So what had happened was this patient who was on the way to the hospital had to be rerouted because the Dusseldorf hospital's IT systems were like totally encrypted. And it took an hour for that person to get to another hospital, and they died on the way there. And
that's terrible. I have a lot of questions. Like, first of all, are EMTs, they can't save you. They have to get you to the hospital. Like, that's scary. I mean, I get it, because how are you saving someone in a moving vehicle, and it's stressful and you don't have enough stuff? So right there, though, if I'm the EMT, I'm just so sad. Like,
well,
that's
just a limit to
hard.
how long they can keep you alive, and like they're designed for short trips. I think that's part of the problem, is that hour probably worked really against them.
Exactly. It's you can only fit so many machines and devices, and EMTs are great. They're not potentially, like, you might need a neurosurgeon. That might be the issue that you're having. You might need like a brain surgery right away, and EMTs can't provide that, especially in a moving ambulance. So it was a really sad situation. The police actually called this a homicide. Like, they said, this is a homicide attack. Like, This is a homicide. This is beyond.
Yeah, the cyber people killed this person.
Exactly. And it took the hospital 2 weeks to restore everything. So who knows how much care was not provided to others in need during that time. And they never figured out who it was, and they never arrested anybody. So I believe it's still an open case.
If you're listening right now and you were the cyber hackers, we're coming for you. You should feel really bad and you should just turn yourself in. Don't be a terrible person. Stop cyber killings.
That's the message we all need to hear during Cyber Awareness Month /Halloween.
Yeah, it's crazy. That's a crazy story. That gave me chills. That almost, like, my bread started to get, crusty. I was like, I don't know if crusty is the right word. I was looking like it turned to toast. It is, anything with a hospital freaks me out. It's like the medical records, the amount of people. What do you do?
Yeah.
Like, that's the scariest thing. I want to try to top that. Are you ready to get scared by our story?
Yeah, I'm really ready.
Okay. Ours is a bank robbery.
Ah!
Yeah. So let's just talk about that for a second, though. Like, who robs a bank anymore? When's the last bank robbery, y'all?
I don't know. My neighbor did. No, he didn't. I'm just kidding.
I was like, really? Is he still there? Like, how much?
You want to go on a date?
Oh, no.
I'm just like, I'm taken. Stop trying to spread on my bread. I can't even. These puns are not working. But Kevin, would you ever rob a bank?
I mean, I feel like, you used to be able to get away with a lot more. Now the problem is banks don't really carry that much cash, right? Like, they were big in the 90s when, like, you had like Point Break or Heat, when like people were carrying like giant things of duffel bags of cash out. But I think banks realized they shouldn't have that kind of money on hand. And so now you're just like getting whatever you can get from the drawer. And that's not going to be that much. So I feel like, no,
not worth it.
Life in prison or 20 years in prison or whatever for 10 grand. I feel like that's not worth it.
It's not worth it. It's definitely not worth it. Well, this one is a little bit different. So this is the Bangladesh Central Bank robbery. What's different about this one is cyber. This was a cyber case, not just a cyber case. Specifically, it was a spear phishing attack. So if you're listening and you're like, what is a spear phishing attack? It's basically the fundamental practice of sending emails seemingly from a trusted sender in order to get targeted individuals to reveal confidential information. It happens a lot. It's scary. A lot of people get tricked. Don't be one of those people. We're warning you now. Don't get tricked. But just to give you a high-level overview, everyone, about this attack. So the Bangladesh bank robbery, also known as the Bangladesh cyber heist, hence the cyber, was a theft that took place, unfortunately not at Halloween, so it's not really as relevant, but it took place in February of 2016. So this was not as recent as you all were thinking it was going to be, but it's still scary. I'm still scared. So here's what happened. 35 fraudulent wire instructions were sent by hackers via the SWIFT network to illegally transfer close to $1 billion from the Federal Reserve Bank of New York account belonging to Bangladesh Bank, the Central Bank of Bangladesh. 5 of the 35 instructions were issued, which transferred $101 million, with 81 million traced to the Philippines and 20 million to Sri Lanka. The Federal Reserve Bank of New York blocked the remaining 30 transfers amounting to $850 million due to suspicion raised by a misspelled instructions or something like that was just spelled wrong. So they were like, let's block this. And so ultimately only 18 million of the 81 million transferred to the Philippines has been recovered, but all the money transferred to Sri Lanka has since been recovered. It's a lot of money.
That is a lot of money. Who did it?
So we're going to get into it, but
get in.
Yeah.
Kevin's like, we'll tell you. Tell you. But yeah, that was my first thought too. Who did it? How did they do it? It's crazy. Wait, are you scared?
Yes.
Good.
So it's actually a really interesting case in my mind. The way they got in was actually pretty easy, I think, for people to get fooled by. So about a year before the hack happened, the hacker sent an email to 36 people that basically was from a guy saying, I want to work at your bank. Here's my resume. And what he sent was a zip file. And in the zip file was a resume, but there was also malicious code in there. And so when they, 3 people actually opened the attachment, and when they did, basically the code started taking screenshots and recording keystrokes, and basically just started permeating the network.
Yeah, I gotta pause you right there.
Yeah.
That is so creative, though,
Yeah.
right?
For sure.
Gianna, come on, that's
Dude,
good.
this is the company I used, my last company that I worked for, Votiro. This is what we prevented. Like the commodity malware entering via files. It's like one of the top ways commodity malware enters, puts keyloggers, puts whatever, and then, starts sniffing around your network. And then eventually there's like, it does a command and control out or logs all your data, and then boom.
Boom.
Yeah.
That's sad.
For sure. And that's really what happened here is the bank actually was using really crappy network switches. And so there was no segmentation. So basically the hackers were able to get access to the whole network, and they basically found cached credentials and just started trying them all over the place. Where they actually got access, which was really sort of the key thing, was the Swift terminal. And the Swift terminal is basically the main system that people use to wire money back and forth. And what's interesting is it's actually kind of a fairly under the radar system. And because it goes basically from bank to bank only, they basically were like, no one's ever going to have access to this. So we don't really need to do a lot of like security on it, which is still sort of crazy to me. And so that was part of what happened here.
Stupid and a poor mistake. Sorry. Crazy is not
sure.
even the right word. It's just irresponsible.
Yeah. No, it really was.
It's a bummer.
Yeah.
There's also a couple of human pieces of this that I think are really kind of funny. And so basically the way this all happened was the hackers were able to find a cache credential, and then they were able to log into the Swift terminal. And so where this all kind of played out was they actually did this over a holiday weekend. It wasn't Halloween, but it was Eid, which is the Muslim holiday in Bangladesh. And so they basically did this at the end of a day on Thursday when everybody was like getting ready to go home. And what's funny is the hackers basically sent the instructions, and they sent, as you said, Laura, 35 instructions. But what's funny is they were actually originally all rejected because they were incorrectly formatted. But the person on the other end basically said, oh, you must not know how to do this. And so they actually responded back via the Swift network with the instructions on how to format them so that they would then authorize the money.
It's really nice of them to be like, you know what, while you're hacking, we'd like to help you out here.
Exactly right.
We want to, take the money, but take it in the proper way.
Yeah, exactly right. And so, they got the instructions, they got, and they basically were able to fix them. And so the hackers basically fixed all the things and then resent the requests. And what's amazing, as you said, Laura, was 4 of them were approved for $81 million. And then there was a weird sort of gap. The hackers basically thought, they sent it at the end of the day, New York time. So it was 5 p.m. And they assumed basically because of this gap, everybody had just gone home for the day. And so they logged off and stopped being part of the hack for the day. What's funny is they then hit a snag. One of the next instructions in the 5th instruction had a misspelling in it. The word foundation was misspelled wrong. And so the person was like, this is a flag. Let me go and see what happened. And so started talking to their superiors and then basically sent a confirmation request an hour later. And if the hackers had still been online, they actually probably would have gotten the rest of their money, which is so crazy to me.
How did they spell foundation?
They, instead of an OU, they spelled it with an A. So it was FA, and ND basically, and so, it was just a misspelling. The other thing that was funny is the bank where they actually sent the money to was on Jupiter Street. And a year earlier, there was this Iranian oil magnate who had basically been violating sanctions. And his company was Jupiter Seaways. And so the other thing that got flagged was the word Jupiter. And so if they had picked literally any other bank to put this money in, they also probably would have gotten away with it.
Whoa.
Yeah. And so
that's crazy.
That's
so
crazy.
They
basically.
But it does sound like they kind of still got away with it. I mean, there's where is all the money?
So it's funny is there's a couple of things that they did wrong that kind of, brought this all down. But the next piece of this, that was actually one of my favorite pieces of it. The system actually also not just takes the money, logs the money, it also prints out a record. And so they had to the hackers actually had to disable the printers so that it wouldn't print out the paper. Basically was a hard copy record of the actual transaction. And so the next day, an employee came to the bank and was like, why isn't the printer working? And so started fixing the printer. And that's when the printer basically started spitting out all the records. And they were like, oh crap, now we have a problem. Look at all these records of these weird transaction requests and all. And so it was kind of just one of those things that was crazy. The one of the pieces of this that like was really kind of weird was the governor of the bank was like, there's no way somebody, broke into our bank and stole this money. Let's watch the footage of the Swift terminal, like of the camera above the Swift terminal, to find out who did this. And so we watched 8 hours of CCTV footage and no one was at the terminal. And that's when he then called and basically was like, oh crap, we've got a problem. And so had they done this right away,
boring.
they might have gotten exactly.
I'm sorry, but like, you were talking, I was just like 8 hours of like, let's watch the terminal footage.
Yeah. Well, again, I think
let's all really sit together for 8 hours.
Exactly.
Let's hold hands while we do it.
Oh, nightmare.
Yeah.
I bet there was some fast forwarding, right? Or maybe an assistant involved in that one.
That sounds like the least amount of fun for 8 hours.
Exactly.
And then afterwards to be like, uh-oh. Yeah. Like you just wasted 8 hours doing that to realize like that was also pointless and you have a real problem.
Exactly right. But to answer your question on how they got away with it, how they got the money out, was the problem is it's not easy to actually like get the money once you have transferred the money. And so the way they did it was by using the Philippines. One of the industries that's not really well regulated in the Philippines is the casinos. And so they literally like essentially Western Union the money to the casino, and then somebody had to go and withdraw the cash and then like clean the money and all. And $81 million is like $1 billion bills. And so like the bank manager of the bank was involved and basically spent like all day loading this money into cars, and they took them to the casino. And then the funniest thing is, because this was in February, it was also the Lunar New Year. And so in the Philippines, it's not totally uncommon.
Obviously.
But it's like it's not totally uncommon for like Chinese nationals to basically come and gamble like all weekend of the Lunar New Year.
Well, yeah.
Weekend.
What else are you gonna do on the Lunar New Year's? Like that is, duh. Gianna, do you want to do that this Lunar New Year's with me?
Yeah.
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 Yeah. It's a date.
Sounds great. But the game they were playing to clean the money was Baccarat, which is really funny because it's like poker where you don't actually play against the house, you play against the other players. And so as they were basically losing to the other players, those guys were basically cashing out the money and they were able to basically clean $22 million. And because it worked so well, they then did this with the other 59 million and they got away with the 81 million.
That's awesome. Not awesome. Sorry, not awesome.
Yeah, no, not awesome. For everyone that like can't see us, it's also just like hilarious to hear it coming from Kevin dressed as Bob Ross.
I know.
So, and also when you're saying not awesome, Jan, I'm like, well, depends who you ask, because for some of them it's awesome.
Yeah, there's so I happen to know about the poker industry for reasons, and there's a lot of that whole, hey, let's launder money through games. Let's like bring like a group of people to come. Everyone comes differently, but all the money, even if you lose it, of course, there's rake to the house, right? They take their percent. It's like de minimis, but all that money gets distributed to your crew, right? Who's all at the table. So you still get it. Like just what Bob Ross was saying.
Yeah, exactly.
Kevin, can you add more happy littles when you keep going on the story?
I don't have any more happy littles, actually. I only have sort of bad information. I know who actually did it, and I know, unfortunately, who got prosecuted.
Your friend? Your neighbor?
No.
Yeah, why'd you say it? Like,
yeah.
I know. Like we were able, like
my uncle.
Yeah, Kevin's like, and that's why we're not married anymore.
No, I don't mean it like that. I mean like they actually were able to figure out who did it. And so
who did it, Kevin? Who did it? Tell us.
So it was the Lazarus Group. They're the people who did the Sony hack, and they did the WannaCry virus. And the way they found that out was basically in the process, somebody Googled the security key, and it's the same security key that they used on the Sony hack. And so
they were like, it worked once.
I know, exactly right. Yeah. Yeah. And so the answer,
it's always the key.
Only the bank manager got in trouble. The bank manager actually got prosecuted and unfortunately thrown in jail for 56 years and was fined $109 million.
Wait, the bank manager?
Yeah,
I don't think that's
in the
fair.
Philippines who received the money, who actually took the money from the bank in the Philippines and brought it to the casino, is the only person who got arrested.
Okay, well,
I mean, she was definitely involved.
Yeah.
She was like involved though. Is what you're saying, Kevin?
Yeah, at first I was like, why? Like innocent victim, and then you did that twist, and I
Yeah,
was just
exactly. I
like,
mean, she was pretty much involved. Like, there's no questioning it there that she was definitely involved.
Here's the thing: after she cleaned the money, why didn't she just leave the Philippines?
That's a good question. I
Like,
don't know. I don't know
you
that one.
got it. You did all of this. I also, was she good at gambling? Like, did she end up making more money in the
I don't know
end?
if she was one of the people gambling. It doesn't say in the article I
Well,
read.
what was she doing there? It's the Lunar New Year. We know she was gambling.
Well, I think she
Mhm.
gave the money to the other people who were gambling, and then basically just kind of waited for her cut.
Mm.
I think.
Then she
But
should go to jail. If she's not gonna take the risk and gamble
exactly. Sit down
like
and
everyone
sit down and
else,
play some baccarat.
prison. Yeah. Oh,
Straight
that
to
was tough.
jail.
Yeah,
Straight
go to
jail.
jail. Be better at this sport. What's your gambling choice? What would you choose, Gianna?
Me? Oh, I'm
Yeah.
terrible.
What would you choose
At
though? You have to. You have to
I'd choose
gamble
one
right
of
now.
I'd have to gamble right now.
Yeah, right now you would have to do it.
I would probably do that wheel that spins.
Mm,
That one's
yeah.
fun. You have you're not gonna win over time, but you have more,
Is that
you have a
roulette?
little, yeah, roulette.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I would go with craps. Kevin, what'd you go with?
I'm a blackjack guy.
Okay, Gianna, scare us. What else you got?
I mean, I kind of went really sad, actually. I think I got
Okay.
the prompt wrong. So this
Depress
is
us.
okay. So instead of being scared, everyone just start your woo-woo tear crying right now. I have two more stories. I'm gonna give us a palate cleanser by going to the second one, which is a little faster and a little just more like pure horror as opposed to sad. So, and it's recent, by the way. It's recent. So the reason I chose this story for our horror anthology is because it's about LinkedIn, which is the scariest place in the universe.
The best place. I
The
love
scariest.
LinkedIn.
You love LinkedIn?
Yeah, it's my social media of choice for sure.
Me too, but it's like horrifying.
LinkedIn me. That's why it's so good.
Yeah. Okay. So, August 2023. And some of you, like Kevin and Laura, you might have been affected by this because I was affected, which makes it extra scary. But nothing bad happened to me personally. But it did happen to like 500 million people. So, in August of 2023, it was reported in multiple places, beeping computers one, but also in the Cybersecurity Marketing Society by fellow members who noticed this trend. Yay. Okay, cool. Hands. We're all doing like hand waving stuff. Great. So basically, what had happened was that a humongous leak of LinkedIn credentials were being weaponized, operationalized. I don't know. A bad guys got hold of these credentials. LinkedIn claims it wasn't directly from them. It was some sort of scraper or some other previous data breach. But anyway, a hacking group was using LinkedIn credentials or brute forcing accounts in order to take control of humongous swaths of LinkedIn accounts. So this summer, which everyone here lives through, so maybe you noticed too, there was a lot of LinkedIn account takeovers happening. And it's scary because one, it's on LinkedIn, which is a terrifying place. And two, LinkedIn is a lifeline for a lot of folks who are, especially in this world where there's a lot of rifts and layoffs happening. You can't have your LinkedIn account compromised. You need to have your account in order to get a job, in order to stay connected to your professional network. So I believe I was part of this, and a lot of the members of the society were. And thankfully, a lot of us have 2FA on our devices and on our accounts. So
Wait, your LinkedIn was affected by this?
yeah, I got notified that like someone was trying to change my email, and I got 2FA notifications, and I was like, oh,
yeah.
time to change the password. I don't know why it's out because I use really strong passwords. So there was a leak somewhere.
That would scare me. That would scare me.
Scared the crap out of me.
Yeah.
So, and what's extra scary about this is that LinkedIn, which has all of the ability to notify people via a nudge, an alert, a notification, ignored it and said, oh, it wasn't us. It wasn't direct from us. So we're going to not do anything.
Oh, LinkedIn.
And
why would you do this? LinkedIn's supposed to be for lovers. How
exactly. For
break
lovers, for haters, for bandmates. It's
don't ruin our careers, LinkedIn.
And LinkedIn had to have known because one, it started to be posted on Reddit and Twitter and Microsoft forums and all of these places. People were posting about it on LinkedIn. People were talking about it, and support ticket timelines went through the roof. And also, here's this. CyberInt, which is a security company, said that they noticed on Google Trends, the breakout, like the problem was actually tracked on Google Trends because search terms about LinkedIn account hack or recovery of your LinkedIn record increased by 5,000% during this time.
Not a coincidence.
Not a coincidence. So that is the horror story. A lot of people had their accounts hijacked.
This was a good one. This personally impacts me because I am a big fan of LinkedIn. I find that LinkedIn is, there are people that are like, oh, what's your social media? And they're asking me what like my Instagram is. And I'm like, what are you talking about? You mean LinkedIn? That's my social media. And so if somebody does hack LinkedIn, I agree. Like there's your whole, you don't exist. Good luck getting your job now. Oh, I don't like that one.
And they can impersonate you. They can impersonate you to spread more devastation, right? Because it's you. Everyone thinks it's you, similar to a Facebook account breach. Oh, my mom sent me a video. Oh, my coworker sent me a cool article. Or, hey, well, you should check this out. Or, hey, here's my resume. I just updated it. People already know you. And it's just an easy way to just spread malware, to spread disinformation, to spread whatever they want through a whole network of super interconnected accounts.
All of those people that reach out that are like recruiters on LinkedIn, if you are like somebody who needs a job and they're reaching out, what an easy way. You'd be like, oh, it's just this recruiter again. Nope.
Well, I also think it's a site where, not to say it's not secure, but it's a site you don't think about as much. And so I feel like those are the sites where people then put a password in and then reuse that password on other random sites. And so if you then that's your banking password, you've now just exposed other sites. And so I feel like it's one of those sites that people don't think about as being secure as much. And so it's way more, in my mind, it opens up an extra level of vulnerability.
Yeah, that's so true because people are like, oh, it doesn't matter. But hey, like it actually does matter. So for example, my husband's, what the hell was this account? It was like his Netflix account got hacked. And we were like, because he used an unsecure password. And so it's like, all right, that's like low, like nothing bad is going to happen, except they did delete all his profiles and add new ones. And now there's weird movies. We fixed it since then, but then there was like weird suggestions.
That's hilarious.
So and then like what Kevin said, if he had used that elsewhere, then you're just screwed.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I don't like that one. It had me really shaking in my loaf.
I have one more if you want to hear it, but we don't have to.
No, we want to hear it. Scare us, scare us, scare us.
Okay, so it's gonna make
us cry.
Yeah, it's gonna be sad. Baby dies. I'm not gonna bury the lead. This is like
it's just
sad.
End of story. The baby's dead.
Yeah,
lean into it.
Yeah. So basically,
how old is the baby?
9 months.
Oh,
that's like a real baby.
It's a real baby.
Yeah, it's sad. It's a sad one.
All right, tell us.
And scary, right? Really scary because of the various things, that both from like the attack perspective, but then from a comms perspective that occurred. So Spring Hill Medical, and then my sources, cyberlaw.something.org, CPO Magazine, Healthcare IT News.
Thank you for citing your sources. We did not believe you. We just thought you were sharing about dead baby until you gave the sources. And now we are ready to be scared.
Links in the show notes. So Spring Hill Medical Center, which is in Alabama, in July 2019, was hit by a ransomware attack, right? And it's very similar to the Dusseldorf attack in that ransomware comes, it encrypts, things aren't working, systems aren't working. And this affected Spring Hill Medical Center for more than 3 weeks, which is a huge amount of time. Yeah. So this is about one case of a woman who had labor at that hospital while it was undergoing that ransomware attack. So, and before I get into the story, like who did this? Why would they do this? It was never publicly disclosed. Like I couldn't find news, but that cyberlaw.ccdcoe.org website does believe that it was Ryuk gang, which is like a Russian-based criminal group that at that time was targeting hospitals, businesses, and governments. So basically, the ransomware hit, encrypted everything, affected all sorts of systems, and it especially affected how the nurse's station monitors fetal heartbeats. So what had happened was a woman had come to the hospital to give birth, and because of the ransomware attack, they could not tell that the baby's heartbeat was too high because the umbilical cord had wrapped around its neck. So yeah. Oh, I'm really sad.
Oh, this is so sad.
I'm so
Trigger
sorry.
warning.
Yeah. So what happened to the baby was that when it was born, it had suffered brain damage because of the umbilical cord wrapping, and it died 8 months later. So it was about 9 months old, 9 months old when it died. And it was directly because of the brain damage it had suffered. And if they had known that the baby was in crisis, they would have done a cesarean section, right? They would have had a different method of delivery that would not have the baby going through that stress and that danger. So
this is the worst one of today.
This is
worst
truly
story of today.
This is horrifying. Yeah. It gets worse, kind of, from a comms, like a hospital perspective. And nobody else dies, but it makes
How can it get worse?
I'm just telling you guys that you're going to feel worse. Okay. So, so anyway, and the doctor, okay. So, the Wall Street Journal reports that the doctor texted with the nurse manager saying she would have used cesarean if she knew the child was having that issue while it was being born. And so actually the patient is suing, and I couldn't find updated information about this case, if it had been successful or was still in the courts or what. Lawsuits take a really long time. The woman actually sued the hospital, claiming that because the ransomware attack was happening, that is the direct result of the death of her baby, which is also something I would have done too. I would absolutely sue. So I'm behind her on that.
I would have sued, and I would have started a cyber investigation. I would have had no options but to find them and kill their babies.
Yeah, you got
that's very biblical, and I'm not doing that.
I don't see any other option.
Oh my God. And this is where it makes you feel worse. Some of the staff didn't know there was a ransomware attack going on, and nobody told the patient that there was a ransomware attack going on that affected any of the systems for the delivery. So she just went in thinking, I'm going to a hospital, and not thinking, this is dangerous. Like, I should go to a different hospital if I'm able to deliver my baby. So the doctor said, who delivered the baby, who's part of the suit, said she was aware of the ransomware attack, but believed that the patient could safely deliver the baby. Yikes. The hospital blames the doctor for not telling the patient that that an active ransomware attack was going on. And then other employees said that they were initially in the dark about the ransomware attack. So the only hint, this is quote, the only hint was the notes taped to the computers claiming that EHR records were down until further notice. And only later did they learn it was a ransomware attack. So did they know by the time the baby was being delivered? Yes, because the doctor knew. But what a massive, horrible thing that also was compounded by a comms issue, by an issue where the people who came to the hospital and some of the employees, even at the beginning, had no idea what was going on.
This is horrible.
Yeah.
Happy Halloween, everyone.
We need to tell some jokes now.
What happened to the baby at the hospital?
Oh my God, Laura.
Okay, a little bit of dark humor. Again, trigger warning. No one here condones death of babies, people, puppies, any animals, anyone, anything. Don't kill, prevent losses. It's always horrible if you have suffered a loss due to a cyber attack, or in general. We're here for you, and we understand it's not funny, and neither is safety in general. It's important, but it's not funny.
Yeah, but it is. But you know what? The way humans deal with dark things is through humor, Laura. Humor. I can't pronounce words. So.
No, it's through humor. You were doing your German again, I thought. So, it is true. It's really a sad thing. I shouldn't be around anybody during a sad point in their life, because they're like, And that's when she fell. And then I'm laughing and they're like, no, she never got up. And I'm like, oh, but remember that time she was walking? There's a good memory and it just doesn't go over well. So if you are in need of someone to be there for you during one of those times, reach out to anyone on the show but me. I'm sorry, I'll make it worse unintentionally. But
Oh my God.
yeah, from one bread to another, let me tell you.
From one bread to another.
Yeah, to all the other lows out there, you
The
know.
lows.
I thought you were going to play a game with us today.
Oh, I forgot about the game because we're on like a joint podcast. All right, we're gonna play a game. And Maria's not here, unfortunately. Otherwise, she would also play the game. And oh my gosh, this is the only opportunity for me to win this game this year because Maria's not playing. Me and Maria play against each other. And she's not here. And literally, for all of 2023, I have lost. And we record an episode twice a week. So I have lost a lot of, yeah, like 40 times.
Okay, let's do this. Let's play the game.
So we're gonna play a game where I'm gonna guess what you would be doing if you were not doing what you're doing now. And Kevin, I don't know what the hell you do. So security marketing.
Dun, 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 dun.
Am I supposed to tell you the answer?
Yeah, because no, just tell me what you do now.
Oh, so I'm director of operations for a software company.
No, he paints.
Oh my God.
He paints his Bob Ross.
Exactly.
Okay.
Painting.
I'm gonna cross off your Halloween costume also. So in your queue, I cannot choose operations software company and I cannot choose painter. And Laura, you are do sales thing?
Yeah.
What do you do?
Yeah, let's go with sales.
Sale and hosting a podcast. And you're also bread. So I'm not going to choose baker. So based off of this episode, I'm going to go with Laura first because it's really easy. I think you'd be a stand-up comedian.
Ooh, nice.
And
okay.
Kevin, what I know about you, because I know that you do operations, you chose Bob Ross as your Halloween costume, and you seem like a very steady individual who doesn't get too rattled and can hold down the ship really well. I think that you would be shit. I always do like a long
You would
intro
be shit.
No.
You would be shit. You all heard it.
No.
Oh, no.
No.
Sorry, Kev. She said it. I think you would be shit.
I think you would be commanding a naval unit.
Oh, nice.
Damn, I don't agree with that, Kevin. That's a good one, but like do you want to do that, Kev? That's stressful.
I don't know, man. I never really had the desire to start joining the military.
I need to lose this. I mean, I need to win this. Sorry, Freudian slip. I need to win this. So I'm going to change.
I'm Bob Ross. I feel like I'm a pacifist.
I think you'd own a farm. There we go. But like a hobby farm, not like a scary, stressful farm.
That's a good one.
So Laura, who won? Me or Maria?
You won. Maria, you lost. You lost. I don't know if I'd be a stand-up comedian because as bread, I'd be kind of flat, you know? So maybe no, that joke was flat.
Exactly. That one did not matter.
Yeah.
So what would you actually do?
What would I actually do?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I would go on a journey to find the rest of my loaf so we could all get together and start a new tribal village linked into bread style. I would actually start a cult against gluten-free people.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'd be a really good cult leader. I do.
Well, you know, it's like they have that for vegans. They have like the carnivore diet. So you could do like the all bread, all gluten diet.
Yeah, just like bread or nothing, the prison diet. You know? Look how in shape they are when they go to jail. Do you want to be as fit as prisoner number 77?
I mean,
get your bread, get your water. Yeah, I mean, it sounds nice. I do think I'd be a good cult leader for sure. So maybe like a cult where I do stand-up comedy and like you have to joke your way into the cult. That could be pretty good. What do you think you would do? I actually think you would be like an underground ringleader of sorts. Like, let's go with the casino thing. I think you would have people would come in. This is not you, Kevin. I see you getting excited. You're not there. You're on your farm. But I think, Gianna, you would be that one where it's like, They come underground and it's like the high end gambling. And you're like, oh, you want to enter? I'm going to need an extra 100 on that. Thank you. You put it in your pocket and you're like, go in. Next.
I'd be the bouncer at Molly's game.
That's what I'm thinking. Just like Molly. That's exactly what I'm thinking. Like you would be Molly. Yeah. No, I could see it. I could see it.
So, Laura, you lost the game. Kevin, what? Did me or Maria win?
I think it's got to be you again.
Although, yeah, I think you won.
The odds are definitely leaning in Maria's favor.
What do you think, Kevin? What do you think she would be?
I don't know.
That Molly's game was good.
Let's go with country music singer.
Oh my God. You guys, neither of you know shit about me, and it's so obvious.
That's a good. Okay. Kevin? You would have a store. You would have a unique store where everything is customized based on individuals' personalities.
Is that even a thing?
So I would own a cry cut and live in a suburban area, like, or Cricket. I'll answer y'all's. I'll answer you, Laura. But Kevin, like, what would you be doing first? I feel like I need to close out my part of the game and officially declare winning.
I feel like I would love to like run a sports team, like be like the general manager of a football team.
That would be you, Kevin. That would be a good one.
That's so close to running a Navy, though.
All right.
Because you have like,
I don't know.
All right, I'll give you that.
All right, Kevin will give it to you. I can't see Kevin on a ship. I just can't see him on a ship. Like he's in my fantasy football league and he's crushing me right now, so I'm pretty bitter about it. So I could see the sports, but Kevin on a ship, I'm kind of like, I don't know if I see it.
Well, okay, cavalry then.
Okay, I could see that.
Horses. Is that what it is?
Yeah, you go straight, and then when you come back, you go to your farm.
Gotta wear the wig. Gotta wear the wig. Yes. And then you go to the.
That's awesome.
I like that. Yeah.
Do if I see.
Yeah, you definitely win. Maria, you lost. You're not even here, and which is upsetting because you lost for sure.
It's sad because Maria would have worn a costume.
I
would. What would I be doing? That I didn't answer your question. Well, I would be eating a lot of iceberg lettuce, which is not a job, so that doesn't count.
So you'd be a rabbit?
Actually, yeah, I'd be a rabbit. That's it. If I could choose.
When I get older, I want to have as much iceberg lettuce as I want.
you do that.
Okay.
When I can afford it.
Welcome to the prison diet again.
Oh my God. How do you guys do this every week?
Oh man, I don't know.
There's a lot of behind the scenes editing of random tangents.
I feel like at this point we should thank you all for listening.
That's right.
So everybody, thank you so much for listening. And for those of you who can see that I look great in bread, I really appreciate it. And if you hate my bread outfit, then you know what? Go loaf yourself. But for everyone else out there, Kevin's painting a picture to thank you. Gianna is working on what she's going to do to thank you as well, as she custom makes her Halloween costume. Somewhere in the background, she's dancing, she's saying, yay, in sign language, which is awesome. So thank you all for listening, watching, and just being a part of this spooky, weird, chaotic episode. Happy Halloween. Get out there, trick or treat, and don't get murdered.
Yeah. Happy Halloween, everybody.
Happy Halloween.